XRP family, thank you guys for joining the video for today. So here we can see, guys, that we have James K. Phelan saying that these people on how the UK is leaving the US behind, says the UK is making good on its promises to position the country as a leading crypto hub. Now regarding this, let's look at why the UK is actually moving forward and the US is not moving forward. This is actually due to Ripple, right? Because look at the UK, the Bank of England is actually working together with Ripple to actually make a change in how payments work. Now we have all seen the papers, we have all seen everything regarding the Digital Pound Foundation and the whole project, right? And it's obvious that Ripple is working with them. US is doing the absolute opposite. They are suing Ripple. So can you see, guys, that the country that is moving forward is working with Ripple and the country that is not moving forward is actually going against Ripple? So that's what this Susan Freeman is talking about as we get ready to celebrate July 4 in the States. Notably, it's the UK that is leaving the US behind in key areas. The Financial Services and Markets Act being written into law marks a defining moment for crypto regulation globally. Now the question is US waiting for something else, or is there some kind of idea behind all of this? Right here we can see absolutely the proactive stance of the UK in the crypto regulatory space is indeed smart. As they continue to innovate and adapt, they set a prime example of progressive regulation promoting growth while mitigating risk. It's high time the US follows suit. Isn't this absolutely crazy, guys, that the US, that actually the SEC, that this entity is stalling the US from moving forward? The country with the biggest GDP. This is absolutely insane, right? And when is the change coming? Don't be fooled. Buterin knew the plan to try and create a monopoly for Ethereum. We have the receipts, right? These are emails from the SEC pointing out, attached, please find the draft of the speech I had mentioned, which suggests that we do not need to see a need to regulate Ether as it currently offered as a security. That language is in brackets and would be used if we all are in agreement. We also have a call with Buterin later this week to confirm our understanding of how the Ethereum Foundation operates. Now, he actually says this on the comment that Vitalik Buterin made. The one comment I'll make is that I feel bad that Solana and other projects are getting hit in this way. They don't deserve it, and if Ethereum ends up winning through all other blockchains getting kicked off exchanges, that's not an honorable way to win. Now, look at the hypocrisy, right? Because look, the SEC and Vitalik Buterin have been going forth, right? They have been going back and forth, and you can see that here. It's very clear that they contacted him, that they tried to understand how the Ethereum Foundation operates. It's very clear, guys, that behind the scenes there were some things very clear that was not clear to the public. And again, of course, that we can see that this is all corrupt stuff. SOFR is an interest rate published daily by the New York Federal Reserve Bank of New York, which is used in interbank overnight borrowing secured by US Treasury securities, because SOFR is based on actual interbank transactions with daily volume of nearly 1 trillion. More resilient than Libor because of the depth and liquidity of the markets that underlie it. SOFR is considered a transparent rate that is representative of the market across a broad range of market participants, a daily risk-free rate. Let's take a look here, guys. On March 5, 2021, Benchmarks Administration and United Kingdom's Financial Conduct Authority announced that 1 week and 2 month US dollar Libor will cease to be published overnight, and 1 to 3, 6, 12 month USD Libor will cease to be published on 30th of June, right? The July actually marks a lot of changes, guys, that is going to be happening, especially with the Fed now. Libor manipulation and fraud within traditional assets reduce general public's faith in traditional assets, plus cryptocurrencies reduce these effects, plus XRP can improve global payment system and is being used by central banks. Now here you can see, guys, that They say cryptocurrencies and NFTs can help reduce effects of hedge the loss of financial credibility. Some cryptocurrencies, such as XRP, can drastically improve global payment systems and rare currently being used by central banks and commercial banks around the world. Very interesting. Again, right, talking about how things can really change. So here we have an interesting video, guys, which I want to show you. Actually, it's 5 minutes, but it's very interesting for those who are interested in Ripple, XRP, and what is being built on the XRPL. I did cut down a CoinDesk interview with James Wallace, Vice President of Central Bank Engagement and CBDC's Ripple, into 3 clips. Let's take a look, guys. It's very interesting.
Bank digital currency platform, which allows central banks, governments, and financial institutions to issue their own digital currency. Joining us now to discuss is James Wallace, Vice President of Central Bank Engagement and CBDCs at Ripple. James, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jen. Great to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. Now, let's just start off here. Is this a pivot or diversification of the business?
It's diversification. You know, Ripple is broadening out our different lines of business, and we see a big opportunity with central banks and CBDCs.
Now, this is James Wallace. As you can see here, guys, Ripple VP, Central Bank Engagements and CBDCs. He's the connection, making connections with CBDCs and central banks to actually establish a partnership.
Talk to me a little bit more about that opportunity you see with central banks. What kind of conversations are you having?
Again, look at this, guys. Ripple starts platform for central banks to issue their CBDCs. If you go to those papers where banks are actually talking about creating CBDCs, they all say that they are actually having a platform for CBDCs. And that's the platform. Ripple is providing that platform. So when they talk about a platform for CBDCs, they actually talk about this one.
Lots of conversations with lots of central banks. You know, I think 90% or so of central banks around the world are evaluating CBDCs. We sort of view CBDCs as one of many digital currencies that will coexist in the world. So, you know, as a company, we're talking to central banks about CBDC. We're also talking to commercial banks about what they will do with CBDCs. We're also talking to commercial banks and other institutions about stable coins. And then, of course, we're renowned for being in the crypto space. So we view all of these different digital currencies coexisting. And, you know, we'd like to be involved in all of them.
What clients do you have right now?
So right now we have several clients. We've announced 4. Today, actually, in parallel with this announcement, we announced that we're working with the HKMA in Hong Kong on building out a real estate tokenization platform with CBDC. We also have 3 other projects, one with the Central Bank of Montenegro, and then 2 others. One is with the Central Bank, the Royal Monetary Authority in Bhutan. And then the final is with Palau, which is a republic that doesn't have actually a central bank. So they're having, we're working with them to issue a government-issued stablecoin.
You just mentioned 4 jurisdictions that are very different from each other. Talk to me a little bit about why you're choosing to work with these governments first.
Well, as I said, we are working with some others that we can't talk about yet. But generally, we find that
Look what he said, guys. They can't talk about who they work with yet. Who do you think that is, right? Where is the lawsuit going on right now? In the US. They definitely working with the Federal Reserve, guys, to actually create a stable coin or a CBDC, however you want to call it right now. But that's what they're doing. See what he's saying, guys. He's not mentioning all of the partnerships that they have. They clearly work with the Bank of England. If the Digital Pound Foundation is, like, you can see Ripple's logo all over the place, but he's not mentioning it, right? They're not mentioning everything because they want to keep it until there is regulation and everything is clear. Please understand that as well.
A lot of the smaller countries are a bit more nimble and are able to do things more quickly. Probably the opposite end of the spectrum is, you know, the European Central Bank, the Eurozone, or the US, where it's a very complex environment, a lot of different vested, interested parties, regulatory uncertainty in some cases. So So other countries, the countries I mentioned, are able to move more quickly, and that is great for us because it gives us great experience, early on in this marketplace, and it's also great for those countries as well.
So again, guys, this is so important what this guy is saying, because he's an actual guy that meets these central banks and is the connection between them. And he's telling you that right now they're kind of experimenting with like Hong Kong, Bhutan, and all these Palau, all these small places where they're kind of like getting warmed up, right? And then when they understand everything, they can go to the bigger ones like the euro and the US and the pound and all this stuff, guys. And it's definitely gonna come. So that is why you can clearly see that they're making great moves. Thank you very much for watching the video, guys. See you in the next one. Cheers.